Well, hello guys and gals, how are we? Hey, I've got an exciting fishing trip coming up. Man, a good friend of mine, Matt Winters, I helped him out. He's a great singer, and he's recently saved just 2 or 3 years ago, and has wanted to make a Christian album. I helped him out just the best I could, and wasn't expecting anything in return for it, certainly. But man, that rascal has bought me and my son a package down at Triple D Ranch in ML, Alabama. It's a trophy bass property, and we're going to go down there and see over the next couple of days if we can't catch a few of those trophies. Hey, we're going to have a good time regardless. It's middle of the summer. It's late July, and it is absolutely sweltering. It's about 95 out here right now. But I'm going to show you what I do in preparation for fishing where I know there are trophy bass. So let's get started. First thing, I'm going to figure out what all rigs I want to carry. And basically, that's everything I've got. I don't want to leave any leaf unturned on a trip like this. I want to take advantage of the equipment that I have, and hopefully put it all to use. I'm going to throw top water early in the morning. Then I've read reports on Texas rigged worms, Carolina rigs, spinner baits, chatter baits, all kind of good stuff that they've been catching bass on down there. So I'm going to be rigged up for a little bit of everything. But what I want to do first is I want to make sure that I've got the right line on the right reels. Like I recently swapped out a couple of reels and rods, and in so doing, like for my spinnerbait rig, for example, here, that's a great looking spinnerbait, isn't it? That's a Z-Man spinnerbait. Got a little zoom split tail trailer that I whittled down to a shorter length and put on there, because that's not a very big. I think that's like a that may be a 1/4 ounce spinnerbait, but that's a good one. Z-Man makes a great spinnerbait. I really like those. But anyway, I know it's hard to tell on camera, but that line is really small. I think that is actually either 8 or a 12-pound test fluoro. And where we're going, of course, can't promise anything that would break it, but where we're going, there are fish in there capable of absolutely demolishing that, especially if they were to get wrapped around a limb or something like that. I want to be a power fisherman tomorrow, so I'm going to put some heavy line on there. I'm going to go with a 20-pound fluoro. And the next thing I want to do in making sure that I've got the right leaders and lines on on my reels, I want to make sure that all of these leader knots are in good shape. So I've already told you I'm going to be replacing that one. So let me do that right now, and I'm going to show you what has become my favorite leader knot. It was the FG, which is still probably the best knot available, but it's really best when you're using a leader, either mono or fluorocarbon leader that's a lot bigger than the braid main line that you're tying it to. That the way that knot is designed, that braid needs to just lock in on it. If your line and your leader are around the same size like that is, it just tends to slip a little bit more than I like. I've found out that my favorite knot for similar diameter lines being tied together is called the Crazy Alberto. Not Roberto. I'm crazy Roberto. The Crazy Alberto, and I will show you how I tie the Crazy Alberto knot right now. All right, I'm going to get over here where there's no other interference. I hope that air conditioner from the house isn't too loud out here. Of course, it's never going to cut off and it's this hot. But that is a Yozuri top knot. This is going to be used from my leader. This is 100% fluorocarbon line, and that's 20 pound. Now note that right there, 0.015. That is thin line to be 20 pounds. Normally that kind of right there, that's 0.015 inches. A lot of times that kind of corresponds to the poundage of the line. So I would expect that to maybe be a 15-pound test, but it's 20. Let's go ahead and cut that right there. Now, there's my leader. Cut my old leader off, and I'm gonna go ahead and go up the line another foot or two. Got plenty of line on this reel. Give me some good, fresh, strong braid to tie to here. Now, Crazy Alberto. You start by doubling your leader line. Oh, I'm gonna go about 6-7 inches worth. Double that right there and pinch it. So I got a loop right there. Now, I'm gonna bring this tag end of my main line through this loop, and I'm going to pinch about right there. See, there's my loop, there's what it is, and I'm going to pull that out about a good foot. I want to have plenty of line right there, and I'm going to wrap that 10 times around both lines of that leader. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And when you get that 10th time around it done, just make sure, look at that, make sure those are spaced out real nice, and pinch that very end. You can let it go right there. You see what we've got now. Now, here's the key part. We're going to go 10 times, just like we went around it, going toward the leader line, around, going back toward the main line. You want to cross over those other loops you made. So that's the 4th one, and as you need to, you can pinch and get closer, make it more manageable. It's the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, 9th, and the 10th. I might have a little extra, so I'm gonna go one more right there. You want to come out of this, sorry about that. You want to come out of this loop in the same direction. So it goes down that way. Those both should be doing the same thing, and you're left with that right there. Now you're going to run that between your lips. Just moisten everything up a little bit and cinch it down just barehanded, kind of slightly. See that get darker? Now this is when I put on some good gloves like that right there. And I've got a 20-pound leader and I think a 50-pound mainline braid, so I can cinch this down pretty good. Don't want to break it, don't want to weaken it. I want to get it where it's just right. So now I'm going to hold only the leader line and the main line. Use these gloves, folks. It'll save your fingers. I can't tell you how many times I have sliced my fingers halfway to the bone in that joint right there. See that? See that cut? That's an old one right there. That braid will get you. Hold both lines of the leader and just hold the main line. Let that tag drop and then really give that a good cinch. Oh, did you see that? Did you see it tighten down, change colors, went all dark on us? That is pretty stout. Now I'm going to take just the leader line, leave its tag hanging, and I'm holding just the leader line and just the main line. Got both tags hanging. Give that a good tug. I don't believe that's going anywhere. But still, I'm gonna show you what I do for just an extra measure to finish off this knot. I'm gonna go ahead and cut off my fluoro tag. I have to say this for somebody out there like me, always make sure you cut your tag and not not the leader. Not that I've ever done anything like that, ever. Yeah, I have too. All right, so there we're left with that. Now I'm going to put what's called a risotto in here to finish this. I don't think this is really necessary with this knot, but hey, can't hurt. Just make you a loop, almost like you would be tying a uni knot, and go ahead from the end that's away from the knot and make you about 5 loops just around the one line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, then lay that line down right there, pinch, and now you're basically undoing those loops that you just did, which is going to create loops on this end closest to the knot. If you need to, you can search YouTube for risotto finish knot, probably with a little bit of a better background, clearer than what I'm able to show you here. One more, and there we go. That's what you're left with, just loose. Now find that tag and just start snugging it up. You want everything to look nice and pretty. Keep it uniform right here. Just like that. All right, I'm gonna get those gloves back on. Give that a good tug. Just handling the main line and its tag right there that you just did. Just giving that a good tug. Now I want to take that and trim that. And there's what we're left with. That's a beautiful, crazy Alberto knot. It's the name of that knot. Test it out again, make sure everything is sound, and it is. At this point, what I do is take my reel and I reel my line up so that that leader knot that I just tied gets to about right there. When I reel up to cast, I don't want that knot to get in here. I want it to stay out here. So there it is. I'm gonna leave it about right there. Then I'm gonna go to the end of this rod. You can see I've got about 12 or 14 inches there to spare. And that's where I'm gonna tie on my spinnerbait. And I'm gonna do that with the old classic uni knot. Spinnerbait's kind of a big, little bit of an awkward type bait to go around in order to do a Palomar, and I really like uni better with fluorocarbon and mono anyway. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and as my dad taught me, 7 for good luck. Just slowly work that knot down. Get to a point that I want to wet it. Right here is where I want to wet it. Just run it between my lips. Moisten it up a bit. And just really pull it down. Right. So I've got that cinched down there good. Got a pretty little uniform uni nut. Maybe that's why they call it a uni nut. I leave about an 1/8 to a 1/4 inch tag. I don't like to leave catfish whiskers on one. I cut it off fairly short. All right, that's ready to go. I feel confident in these knots. I feel confident in this line. I feel confident. If I got one of those trophy bass on down there, that we'd be able to get him in the boat. Whew, no, I'm sweating. Other thing I always do, once I get my bait back on my rod, 2 things I do. I want to check my drag. You can do that by holding the spool with your thumb and turning the handle to see how tight or loose it is. I want to get this drag locked down pretty good. I've got good strong line on here. When I set the hook, I want it to set. So I think that's good right there. I always leave my handle in that position on my reels. They lay down, whether on your boat deck or in your box. Better that way. Speaking of, if you're going to put them in a box in your boat, rod sleeves are fantastic. They slip over the entire rod and prevent the lines in them from getting all twisted and tangled up. If you're going to leave them on your deck, you don't want to use a rod sleeve. By the way, if you leave them on your deck and you plan on going down the road any distance, don't leave your rod sleeves on because they'll blow off. So here's what I do to keep my lines from getting all mixed up. Tighten that down pretty good. And then just twist. Just twist it and it'll get tight. And just lock it right there. And everything stays nice and neat and close to the rod, and those lines are a lot less likely to get tangled up laying on your deck. So I have my spinnerbait rig ready to go. Now I'm going to do the same thing or anything else that I need to do this on. Well, all right, guys and gals, I've got, let's see, 2, 4, 6, I've got 8 out on the deck, a couple more in the rod locker, but there's wheels. Now we just hope and pray for some decent weather and for some fish to bite. Whew, I know it's going to be hot because it's hot out here tonight, but it's late July. That's what it's supposed to be. Anyway, I hope y'all have enjoyed this little bit of just kind of a tutorial type video of what I do to get prepared for a big fishing trip. And hey, get out there and get after them. That's the most important thing. I appreciate y'all watching. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, like this video if you've liked it, and I hope you'll please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so very much for doing that. Just remember, folks, wherever you are, the good Lord loves you, so do I. God bless y'all. Until next time, I'll catch you later. Bye.